Welcome to Expanding Your Search with Brent and Jodibailey. We are growing our circles of connection and knowledge with encouraging conversations and positive communications. Today, Brent and Jodi welcome
the writer and star of the movie Church People, comedian Thor Ramsey.
And now, here are your hosts, Brent and Jodibailey.
Welcome, everybody, to Season 4 of Expanding Your Search. Hi, everybody. It's Brent Bailey. It's good to have you with us today. As you can tell, we got a new studio coming to you from the new digs here. We're so excited. Let's check in right now over at the tech booth where my wife, Jodi, is hanging out over there. We're back, and it's so good to be here.
Awesome.
We started this in March of 2020 as the world was shutting down from COVID. We've completed 3 seasons, somewhere north of 150 shows, and you have been great. We've had great guests.
We have.
And today is no exception. We have a repeat guest today. He is the writer and star of the movie Church People. Thor Ramsey is with us today, so it's going to be a good show today.
It is. And let me tell you, just before we even get started, go see Church People, download it, do whatever you need to do.
Yeah, buy the DVD or whatever.
It's hilarious. It is a good time.
It is releasing Friday on digital and DVD, so make sure you go see it, rent it, do whatever you need to do.
To get your
it's
hands
good.
on it.
It's really good.
It's really good.
Thor's been here before. Of course, he is a stand-up comedian as well as a screenwriter, and he was the star of the movie. We're really excited to have him in. This is a big week. We're going to have Showbiz Week this week.
We are. We really are.
Because then Wednesday, we're looking forward to Jared O'Flaherty, who's going to be with us.
Yes.
He is the producer, writer, director of the TV show Vindication, and they're coming back for Season 2.
Yep.
And then Friday, we're going to have the director of Church People on, Christopher Sean Shaw. So it's a big week this week. So
Yep, it sure
what
is.
a way to come back
for
Season 4.
Yeah.
And
you know, we've got some great guests even beyond this week.
we do.
We're really excited. I mean,
We got a good season planned
it's
for you.
really good.
So make sure you continue to tune in.
Yes.
Let us know in the comments section what you think of our new set. We got some stuff that we're going to be adding still.
Yep.
One of the features is that sometimes the guests are going to be appearing right next to me here at the desk, and so it's going to be really kind of a cool thing. We're really trying to figure that out still and add that, but we have a great season planned for you, so stick around and be with us. Share the podcast around. Make sure people know that Expanding Your Search is on the air. And if you notice, we have shortened our name to just Expanding Your Search. So anyway.
Yep.
All right. So as you know, we like to talk about things that are going on around the country right now. We don't like to just focus on all the bad. That was really what this show started out of, was to really give everybody a positive cleansing of the palate, if you will. So we like to talk about fun stuff on here. We don't always try and get serious very often. And before you jump into what National Day it is, this whole chicken sandwich battle thing is getting out of hand. It is just getting out of hand. Well, you know, and I'm just going to say this, and I know other people have said it too. Everything was fine until Popeyes started messing with the Lord's chicken.
That is true.
As soon as Popeyes came out with a chicken sandwich, and then, you know, KFC and now Wendy's and McDonald's, they all have a chicken sandwich.
They do.
Well, Taco Bell has now gotten into the act. I'm like, why? You serve Mexican food, tacos, stick with what you know. They are actually releasing a nationwide crispy chicken taco, sandwich taco. So instead of it being in a tortilla shell, it is in a bun folded in half.
Okay. I don't know. I mean, Taco Bell, I go there for junky Mexican food, and I love it. I love Taco Bell.
It is going to make its appearance on September the 4th.
Oh, come on.
And it's in celebration of college football returning. So I don't get it. That's
is it going to be shaped like a football? I mean,
no, it looks like a taco.
Yeah.
It looks like somebody took took the top bun of a Chick-fil-A sandwich and folded it in half around the meat, and they put jalapenos on it.
Oh, Lord. I love giving our opinions on things that are
And that's the
coming
jalapenos are just for Taco Bell. I mean, why?
Right.
Ridiculous. That's just getting out of hand.
I don't know. Do you think you'll try it?
No, because I don't like jalapenos.
Well, you can ask for it without jalapenos. As I ask for things without cheese. So, anyway, we digress.
Yeah. Well, here's something else that's pretty cool. What's your favorite cereal? Now, not healthy cereal, not just because you're trying to be good. What is your favorite
Grape
cereal?
Nuts. No. Actually.
Total. I like Total. Now, what is it?
I would say Captain Crunch.
Okay, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I always grew up with there was always Captain Crunch. I like the peanut butter Captain Crunch.
I do too.
The Frosted Flakes.
Yeah.
Always
Frosted
Tony Tiger.
Love Frosted
Fruit
Flakes
Loops.
too. Yeah.
You know. But I always have a special place in my heart for Cocoa and Fruity Pebbles.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I like eating that dry.
Have you ever made the Rice Krispie treats out of Fruity Pebbles?
No. Rice Krispie treats are kind of a thing.
Rice Krispie treats made out of Fruity Pebbles are actually pretty good. But Post is changing it up a little bit and is allowing one of the candy companies to make a Cocoa Pebbles and a Fruity Pebbles candy.
Okay.
I'm actually kind of excited about it.
Yeah, I can see that.
Bite-sized candies like the size of a Hershey's Kiss.
All right.
Made out of.
That probably would be good. And sugary.
I bet it will be. They're called Pebble Bites.
Pebble Bites.
So I'm looking forward to that.
All right.
All right. What's going on?
Well, speaking of marshmallows.
Tell us what national day is it? Yes, that's why I brought this up.
Speaking of marshmallows, today is National Toasted Marshmallow Day.
All right. So let's go make some s'mores.
Well, s'mores. But you know what? I like toasting them or, like on a fire, open fire. And, you always be careful with the fire. But I like getting them nice and crisp. I mean, kind of a little bit.
Are you like where they flame?
Yes.
Yeah, and then they're black on the outside, like just crispy.
Yeah. And the only reason I don't call for doing that a whole lot is because it's messy.
I've discovered, and you were there, we actually discovered the best way to roast them is to put them in a pan and put them in the oven.
Yeah.
Hold them over an open flame is hard to gauge.
Yes.
And it takes forever to turn it.
And
you got to keep turning it, and they
Sometimes
drip.
It drips, and you're like,
now, we did get those extendable telescopic forks that are a lot easier to. But I like them where they're just tan on the outside.
Yeah.
But melted all the way through.
Right. They
really
got to be melted all the way through.
Yeah.
So, they're good.
So today's the day to eat those.
Yes.
It's National Toasted Marshmallow Day.
And so then the next day is Beach Day. So what a better, more fun
Wait
thing
a minute.
It's
Today is Beach Day. Yeah.
Today's
so
Beach
go to the
Day.
beach, do the
Get
fire,
your marshmallows.
and do the fire at the beach at
We
night.
used to do that in California all the time. You could get.
Well, if you remember some of the funnest times we've ever had in Hawaii, we did that with a bunch of teenagers on the beach. That was great.
Yep. That's a lot of fun. So, now I know kids are back
Wait,
school,
let's talk about Beach Day for a second.
Okay, yeah.
What's the deal with it? I mean, is it just a day to go to the beach?
It's just, I think it's a matter of
kind of the close of summer.
The close of summer. I don't know. It's a Monday, so kids are back in school. So I guess it's an encouragement.
Maybe it's for parents take a day off and go to the beach.
Instead of being at the beach and chasing your kids around, it's a day for you. So
the closest beach to us here in Orlando is about an hour.
Hour-ish,
Ish.
Depending on what time you go.
And we've done it before. While the kids have been in school, we've jetted over, took care of, looking at the beach, and then jetted back.
Put our feet in the water, definitely in the sand. So yeah.
National.
So
what's the roots behind the celebration, though?
The roots are just going back to when you've spent time with your family all summer long at the beach, just having those memories, doing whatever it is that you enjoy at the beach.
I love the fact that it's a holiday, but I'm a little bit disappointed in that. Just to have a day for the second. I'm looking it up to see.
I mean, for me, when we lived in California, we lived a few, not we, you and I, because I don't think you would. Well, okay, I don't know. I'm not going to say a lot more. California is very crowded. But I would say I used to walk to the beach from my house because we lived only a few blocks, and I could just spend hours there.
All right. I knew there had to be more to this.
Okay.
All right. it is a day to recognize the beach as such a relaxing place, and you're supposed to, while you're there, you're supposed to help clean it up so that other people can enjoy it for the future.
All right.
It's a conservation holiday.
Yeah.
So there you go. I knew there had to be some reason behind this.
Conservation, yes.
Yeah.
Cleaning up our planet.
Right.
Yeah.
1929, the Knights of Columbus out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, launched a National Beach Day as part of their convention plans. And in 2014, a young lady named Colleen Page, pet and family lifestyle expert, created National Beach Day to celebrate beaches and the importance of keeping them clean. I knew there was more to this.
Yeah.
All right, last but not least, what's the last day today?
Whale Shark Day. You know
Whale
much about
Shark
whale
Day?
sharks?
I don't really want to either.
I don't either.
If I saw something that big in the water with me, I'd be out of the water.
And while you're cleaning up the beach, you might just see a whale shark.
It would be dirty again if I saw a whale shark in there. All right, that's what's going on around the country today. And today, Thor Ramsey joins us to talk about church people being on digital and DVD. So let's expand your search. My guest today is Thor Ramsey. He is the writer of Church People. Of course, if you heard us talking about it last season on the show, it's a great movie. He stars as Guy, a mega-church youth pastor, and he gets caught in a really interesting scenario as the church approaches Easter. Thor's been working in stand-up comedy since 1987. In 2004, he became the host of a show called Bananas. It was a comedy series which was purchased by Sony TV and could be seen in over 90 million homes in its heyday. Most of those were 12-year-olds. Thor was featured in the 3 of the best-selling Christian comedy DVDs of all time, called Thou Shalt Laugh, and it was the same producer as the Blue Collar Comedy Tour. Some of you will remember that, and it was a hilarious stand-up. This Friday, Church People is coming out on digital and DVD home release, and we're so excited to have him back on the program to talk about it. Please welcome Thor Ramsey. Hey, Thor, how are you?
Thanks for having me.
Man, so glad you could come back and talk to us.
Good to be here again.
Yeah, have you been busy?
I have been busy, just continually writing. I've got a novel that's coming out in the next year, so I'm just finishing up kind of a final rewrite of that, and then working on other screenplays, of course, too. So,
now, have you written books before, or is this your first?
Yeah, I've had 3 nonfiction books published, and this is my first novel. I've written 5 novels, but this will be the first one that's being published. So.
Wow. Anything you can give us a sneak peek of, or?
The novel?
Yeah, like any. I know we're going to talk about Church People, but.
Yeah, no. Well, it's still dealing with this Christian subculture.
Okay.
It does do that. So here's the short of it. It's about a guy who's trying to deconvert, but his deconversion isn't going well.
Okay.
And that's kind of the gist of the story. So it's about a you write what you know. So it's set in the late 90s in LA. It's about a stand-up comedian who comes from a really substantial line of Christian thinkers. So it's almost like Francis Schaeffer type family.
Okay.
They're the Kennedys of the evangelical world. That's what he comes from. And he's trying to deconvert, and he's just having a hard time. In his heart, he still believes everything, but he's living as if he doesn't. So that's kind of the storyline. It's just kind of a satire on the deconversion story that are so popular these days.
Well, you got to come back on when that's going to be released, because
I'd love to. Absolutely.
You've definitely perked my interest there. That's sounds very interesting. Okay, so man, Church People was such a huge success. You have to be extremely happy with how it did.
Well, we're really hopeful that now it was released theatrically during COVID, so that was kind of a disappointment.
Yeah.
But we did make number 10 at the box office. But again, during COVID, that's like 3 theaters and 11 people. But I'm keeping the stat. But I'm really hoping that this digital release and the DVD release will really be the thing that springboards a lot more people seeing it, because we're really happy with the response we're getting as people talk about the movie once they've seen it.
Yeah, I know that we took our whole church to go see it. We went to the Disney Springs theater, the Fathom Events thing. Almost our whole church went, and everybody sitting near us was cackling, laughing, and it was really good. They loved the message, and I can tell you from our church, they loved it. I know it won some awards too. There was it was well received with the critics as well.
That's great to hear. I didn't.
You didn't know that? Oh,
I didn't know. Oh, I think Christopher did. Christopher did win an award through. I can't remember what it was now, but yes.
Yeah.
But it's met with the biggest thing is the word of mouth on it is great, and that's the thing that makes it really rewarding is when people actually end up liking the movie.
What made you write this film? I mean, was this another?
Well, I was, long story short, so basically I was just trying to write a slice of life. I wanted to write a comedy that had sort of a tone that, I don't know if you ever saw the movie Swingers that Jon Favreau was in, and he wrote it. And it sounds worse than it is. It's just a movie about a guy whose girlfriend breaks up with him and his 4 buddies are trying to help him get over it. That's the premise of the movie. And it's comedic, but it's not an over-the-top screwball comedy. But I wanted to write a movie that kind of had that tone, and so I started writing a screenplay about a youth pastor, and then had a meeting. This is back when I had a meeting. This is probably what year? Wow, I don't know. Maybe in the early. I can't even tell you. Probably about 2010, earlier than that, maybe. But I don't have my timeline down. But almost a decade ago, I had a meeting at Sony Firm. And I pitched them several projects, but 2 of them, I'd written some screenplays at that point, but 2 of them were just general market comedies. Yeah. They weren't specifically Christian; they were just clean. But they went, we're Sony Firm. We want to do faith-based things. So I told them about this idea I had for. I didn't tell them I hadn't written the screenplay because I only had about 30 pages, but I told them about a screenplay I had called Youth Group. It was called Youth Group at the time.
Yes.
And they go, we'd like to see that. So I'm like, well, give me a week. so I went home and wrote it and then sent it off to him. And then there's a guy there. He's still there. His name's Josh Nadler. He's a great guy. I hope he's over at Sony Firm. And Josh calls me up on the phone and gives me notes. And he does this 5 times. So he gives me notes on 5 rewrites. And the very last meeting, he said, what your story needs right now to bring everyone together is a big idea. Now, Again, I didn't know what the big idea was. Exactly. Somebody just says, you need a big idea. Yeah. Like, okay, I'll start looking for a big idea. Well, a friend of mine who's a church planter called me up, and he goes, you're not going to believe what this famous mega church that we all know about, you're not going to believe what they're doing on Good Friday. I'm like, well, I'm all ears. What are they doing? He goes, they're actually crucifying someone. I'm like, there is no way. He goes, I'm on their website right now looking at their social media. So I check it out, and it turns out they weren't actually crucifying someone. They were just doing a passion play, but it was going to be so realistic. They give all kinds of warnings about if you're squeamish and, if you're squeamish at the sight of blood, etc. And but right then I knew I had my big idea because just for a moment, my friend and I actually believed that an American evangelical church would crucify someone on a Good Friday to draw people to church because so many pastors had done such crazy things with all probably the best intentions, but they were doing such crazy things that we believed it for just a moment. Yeah. And right there they go, there's the big idea. And so that became the centerpiece of the story through all 30-some rewrites.
Yeah, it's like, here's the silver platter, and here's your idea. So perfect.
That's it.
So perfect. All right, so I know that we could talk about all kinds of things that happen on the set, but I understand that this was a real faith-based film, and you actually got to share the gospel with some of the crew members, or maybe it was all the crew at the same time, and some of the cast in the middle of that. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it was during the scene. One of my favorite scenes of the movie, actually. It's with China Phillips and William Baldwin, and they're actually married. And we were shooting the scene with them in a home, and there was some sort of break. I don't remember what the break was for. I don't know, but there was probably 20 cast and crew just sitting around this living room. And I can't remember how the conversation came up, but we had that conversation where the idea was brought up that Christianity wasn't primarily about morality. And somebody goes, it's not. And I'm like, no, it's not. He goes, well, what's out then? So that was the question, like, what's it about then? And so I literally sat there for 15 minutes explaining what Christianity was primarily about, which is the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus, and why, it was really addressing the misconception that you're not saved by your behavior. You're not saved by your own righteousness or your own works. You're saved by the grace of God through Christ. And that's the gospel. And everything else flows from that. It's not to say morality has nothing to do with it. That wasn't the point. But the point was, so many people see Christianity as rules or a morality system or something like that.
Yeah.
So, and so it was just a great blessing. And then on the ride back that same day, I was sitting to the guy who asked that same question, the very guy who said, what's it about then? And he wasn't a believer. And so we got to ride together in his vehicle back to the other location, and we got to talk some more. So it was just one of those moments during the set that was, you're going, well, this is what because our cast and crew was mixed.
Yeah.
Now our leads in terms of our director and our writers, and some of the cast in terms of the actors, some were Christians, but generally the cast and crew itself, in terms of the actors and the crew, the film crew, they were mixed. Mostly where they're not Christians.
Yeah.
But the people in terms of that were directing the story and that were writing the story, we all came from an evangelical Christian perspective. So,
wow.
From my perspective, that's what makes a Christian film.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. When we see this film, it is hilarious. It's very funny, but it doesn't lose the message at all. It doesn't get lost anywhere. It is not preachy either. It's so perfectly presented.
Yeah, it was because I always attack stories this way, and I always begin with a story. Like, what's the story? What's the compelling idea? What's the idea that makes me excited? So I'm looking for that. And even though I'm on number 11 and number 12 in terms of screenplays right now. So I've got 10 completed and number 11 and number 12. But in all those screenplays, I always start with the story. Because if you're a Christian, your worldview will work its way in. But
sure.
In this sense, because we were writing about the church culture, the message was built in, because the message was, the message of the movie, or the movie itself, the story of the movie is dealing with the message of the gospel. So we didn't have to force the gospel in. It flowed naturally. And I think that's what's so satisfying to me about it, is that it still has the message we want to get across, but we didn't have to be preachy about it.
Yeah. Well, for those of you who haven't had a chance to see it, we're going to show you the trailer right now. It drops this Friday on digital and DVD. So check it out. Here's the trailer for Church People.
I told you if we broke attendance records, I'd get the church logo tattooed on my arm.
Yeah, remember back when we first started? All we did was preach the gospel.
Ooh, Superman works. I like Superman. Guy, what do you think?
What happened to you?
Me? Your dad is the one with the gimmicks.
The power of the Holy Spirit propels us.
I just want the church to get back to the gospel.
Problem is you're trying to get your message across.
The gospel?
Right. And ain't nobody listening to that.
For Good Friday and Easter, I need something big. Amen?
Bigger than the resurrection.
Bigger than anything we've ever done. National headlines.
Preach on the death and resurrection of Jesus.
Bam! An actual crucifixion.
Uh-oh.
By placing the nails through your palms in the right place, we hope to avoid major nerve damage.
Operation Stop Skip is a go. That's awesome.
You have to cancel this Good Friday stunt.
Don't be so dramatic, honey. Ooh, I like the rusty ones.
What are you gonna do?
I told him he's insane.
Been praying for you about that toe fungus.
This could be beneficial for all parties involved.
We foster a yes environment here.
God wanted me to marry you and you could be my wife.
I have an answer for you.
This Friday, September the 3rd, Church People drops on digital and DVD. Pick up a copy today. My guest today has been Thor Ramsey. Thor, thank you so much for your time today. We are
thanks, Brent.
Wishing nothing but the best for it, and I can't wait for you to come back and talk about your novel.
All right. I'll look forward to it.
All right. Have a great rest of your day. That's Thor Ramsey, everybody. And now let's stop for directions. Somebody once said that if you don't like what's offered, you should support the alternative. The problem with that is sometimes you don't like the alternative. Hello, elections in the last 10 years. I grew up in an era where Christian films were either terrible or they were so scary that you couldn't sleep for weeks. Anybody remember the beheading scenes from Mark of the Beast, A Distant Thunder, A Thief in the Night? Those movies messed with me when I was a kid. I have been happy to see that Hollywood offers some good things to Christians. But then I've seen Christian film companies become our own worst enemy because we put out something that has a thin plot with average to terrible acting and have maybe a thin message of the gospel wrapped around it. I'm also very glad to see that our guest did something about that. I wonder how many more great movies with great plots and great talent are out there waiting to be made. If that is going to happen on the scale that it should, then we have to support movies like Church People. This movie is a real alternative that has quality all around it. It has great talent, it has an amazing message, and that message hits you right in the heart, right in the very end. If we can support the good ones like this, this will ensure that more good ones get made. Why don't you go out and get your copy of Church People? It comes out this Friday on digital and DVD wherever you buy movies. If you support this movie, more good movies will be made. That's going to wrap it up for us today. My thanks to Thor Ramsey for taking the time to come by and hang out with us. Join us Wednesday as our guest will be the producer, writer, and director of the sensational faith-based crime drama TV series, Vindication. Jared O'Flaherty will be joining us on Wednesday, so make sure you come on by. Until then, for Jody, I hope that we help you expand your search today. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks for joining us today. Connect with us on @expandingyoursearch on Facebook and Instagram and @expandingsearch on Twitter. Relive any of our episodes on YouTube. We are available wherever podcasts are found, including Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. You can also download the Direction Ministries app on iOS, Android, Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire. Take some time today to expand your search.